Hey guys, here we are again. The map's changed to Hoodoo. I'm just gonna let it pick a team for me. I'm on blue. When you have a team that, this server is probably gonna fill up once everyone loads the map, and when you have teams that have more than about 7 or 8 players on it, it's okay to have 2 medics, and you actually want 2 medics.
Mission begins in 60 seconds.
There's a reason that in competitive play, each team is limited to only 1 medic, and it's because medic is the most powerful class in the game.
Yeah, thanks, Doc.
So a team, I've heard a lot of people say, and I think it's a pretty apt analogy, that if you are playing in a pub and your team is playing without a medic, then you're basically playing on hard mode. You're making it much harder on yourself by not having not only the heals, but not having the Uber
Mission
either.
begins in 30 seconds.
I am fully charged.
Now, honestly, we should probably both be running Uber right now, but if this guy wants to run Kritzkrieg, then it's not that big a deal since I'm running Metagun. So, on offense, a lot of the times you want to Uber right out of the gate, like as soon as the gate opens, because there are probably snipers watching this guy, and I don't want him to get sniped before he gets out the door. A note on flashing Uber. Flashing Uber is when you're currently Ubering someone and you change targets in the middle to give that person a vulnerability. Oh shit. Let me talk about what just happened there real quick. My other medic, my friendly medic, was lit, and when you're trying to prioritize who you need to heal, you should always heal friendly medics first, because they keep you alive, and their Kritzkrieg and their Uber is more important than anyone else in your team staying alive. But anyway, back to flashing Uber. When you flash Uber, when you change targets while you're Ubering, there's a penalty. You don't. You'll notice it if you keep an eye on your Uber charge while you're flashing people. It charges you about a second every time you switch targets. So switching targets back and forth rapidly, it will drain your Uber super quick, and it's a pretty bad idea. One thing I like to do in order to find out when I need to flash is I run backwards while I'm Ubering. Like, I'll run towards where my team is going, but I'll look backwards to keep an eye on the health of my teammates. And if one of my teammates is super low on health and about to die, then I'll switch targets to that person for a second just to keep them alive, because it's usually worth 1 second of your Uber team to keep one of your teammates from dying and having to pay the respawn time delay and then walk all the way back to the objective. So it's okay to flash if you're going to save someone's life, otherwise you generally don't want to do it. And right now, the cart is just going to be a shit show right now, so I don't really want to be out there without Uber. It looks like we're going to cap anyway, so I'll just Uber this Pyro, we should be able to win. Push cart, guys. We have Uber on cart. Sticky's on cart. There, we should have it now. Alright, this is a case of people just being dumb. Like, just cap the point.
Victory.
Yeah, that should have been over a little bit sooner, but we had a big numbers advantage and everyone's just running around in circles. And I think something you can do as medic, but really as any class, is to chastise your team for having too many snipers. We have too many snipers right now, guys. Especially since we're on offense.
Mission begins in 60 seconds.
In general, you don't want to have more than 2 spies or 2 snipers, and most of the time you don't want more than 1 spy and 1 sniper. You'll find that in pub servers, a lot of the new players play spy and sniper because they're like the flashy show-off classes, but unless you're really good, you're wasting your time and you're hurting your team, because you could be playing Demo Man or playing Heavy or playing some class where you're actually doing damage and or distracting the enemy team. If you're wandering around invisible, not getting any kills the whole time, then you're really just hurting your team.
Mission begins in 10 seconds.
And these guys are all new players because none of them switched.
5, 4, 3.
Once again, we're gonna Uber immediately out the door. Hopefully this guy... Oh, nope, he ran away from the door, so I'm not going to Uber him. Alright, there he goes. Get the medic, get the medic. Oh, when you're Uber, you always want to get their medic if you can. And the reason for that is, if you can deny them their ability to get their Uber charge, then you're going to be ahead of them. One thing you have to do a lot as medic is calculate charge. You have to know how much charge you have, know how much charge your friendly medic has, and have an estimate of how much charge the other team's medic has. Like their medic, when we just fought him there, he didn't die, and I didn't see him Uber or Kritzkrieg, which means he probably has one of the two and he hasn't used it yet. So I need to be prepared for them to Uber or Kritzkrieg any second now. It's something that can really help you. Don't throw other teams. Something that can really help you is if your teammates are calling when the enemy medic is down. So even if you're not playing medic, let your team know if you kill one or both of their medics, and that way the medic can keep track of what their medic probably has. It's important to know that because I want to time it. I want to always have advantage. And what that means is I have more Uber charge than them, or I have Uber and their team doesn't have it. Because if I know that I have Uber and they don't have it, we can push out with impunity, whereas if both teams have Uber... Jesus Christ, the spy. If both teams have Uber and I try to push, then they can Uber and basically counter what I'm doing.
Thank you, Herr Doctor.
So I think my team is a little bit better than theirs, and I think we have so many people alive that we should be able to push it in here. People are sort of forgetting to push the cart. As medic, you don't generally want to push the cart because it's not your job. The cart is going to endure a lot of spam, and you don't need to play games with that. Your job is not to take spam, because other people, you can heal other people. Most of the players on your team can't heal you. Also, get in the habit of pulling up your score tab on a regular basis. Not because you're trying to look at scores or dominations or anything like that, but you can tell who's alive and who's not by looking at the score tab. This is important for pushes. Like, even if you have Uber, you don't want to push. Like, if you have Uber and they don't have Uber, it sounds like advantage, but if you're down players, you don't want to push because you're not going to be very effective. Like if I push in with it's me and one heavy with Uber, and that's all we have, and then they have 8 or 9 players, even if he kills 2 or 3 of them, my Uber's going to run out and we're going to get killed and no one's going to push the cart. So by doing this every once in a while, you get a feel for how many players are on the battlefield for each team. So sometimes even if they have Uber and I don't, if we have like a 6-man advantage and they don't have a gun up, I can just tell everybody to push in, and we'll win just by sheer numbers, because they probably won't be able to kill everyone.
Mission begins in 10 seconds.
A lot of times when you're pushing out at start, you want to Uber a class that can move quickly. Heavy can't move very quickly, so a lot of times you'll want to Uber a Pyro. Like I just flashed to this Pyro because he was in a zone where he was going to take a ton of damage, but he was also in a place where he had an opportunity to inflict a lot of damage. So had they had a sentry around that corner, me flashing him could have enabled him to take it out or to survive long enough to kill their medic. It's always good when you're playing medic, if you have to push the cart, stay crouched behind it. You don't want to get sniped. In movement in general, always move in bizarre patterns. Like you'll notice when I move, I duck a lot and I jive a lot. Just in case a sniper's watching me, I don't want to get picked off, or if a spy with the ambassador is trying to headshot me, I don't want to get killed like that. You can be spy checking people constantly as medic. You don't have to pull out your weapon to spy check. Just try to walk through them. That way you can stay healing your target, and then if you find out you can't walk through someone, then obviously they're a spy. You need to get your saw out. Bad spies are kind of like candy for you as medic, because if you use the Uber saw, then you can get 25% of your charge for punching them. Another word on weapons. I know I mentioned this briefly earlier, and I didn't really talk about it too much. As far as your weapon, you can kind of use whatever feels best to you. Most competitive medics will use the overdose. I don't really like the overdose as much. I like the crossbow because of the ability to heal my teammates. It heals for I don't know how much for certain, but I believe it heals for twice what it inflicts damage for. So a long range shot with the crossbow can heal someone for about 150, and that can be life or death for a lot of classes.
Mission begins in 60 seconds.
I'm not sure if the item server is back up or not. I might run crits to show you guys that after I die. At setup in a pub, I guess really in any game where there's a setup time as medic, you always want to run Medigun out of the start. Like some medics would be like, oh, I'm on defense, I should run Kritzkrieg, which is great. Kritzkrieg is very effective on defense on a lot of maps, but
30 seconds.
you have to remember that they're on offense and they need to gain ground, so they're going to be using Uber. And if you run Kritzkrieg right out of the gate and they run Uber, you're just going to get mowed down. Your Kritzkriegs can be worthless.
I am fully charged.
So you want to run Uber out of the gate, and then after you've died once,
Mission begins in 10 seconds.
you can switch to Kritzkrieg because Kritzkrieg charges faster than Uber, and that's the huge advantage of using Kritzkrieg. And basically, when you have Kritzkrieg, you want to use it whenever possible. You want to use it, kill their medic, and then have it up and ready to go again when their medic comes back out. So it's constantly cycle it, constantly use it, put on a ton of pressure, keep making their medic drop Uber. That's how you want to play Kritzkrieg. You might be wondering why I Ubered this guy out of the start, and it's really just because I figured their players are probably bad, so their medic is probably in a compromising situation, and we could probably get him to drop his Uber just by Ubering first. I would say in general, you don't want to use Uber first. I mean, on offense you kind of have to a lot of times, but on defense, you want to wait for them to put you in a situation where you need to use your Uber. If you see them crits, you use your Uber. If you see them use their Uber, you generally want to use your Uber. Part of your job as medic is to make their medic a piece of shit. If you want to make their medic worthless, you want every one of their Ubers to get foiled. Defensively using the Medigun, good targets are heavies or pyros. Pyro is very effective. I think one of the few really useful things the pyro can do is to use his blowback ability to blow back their Ubers. And if you're playing pyro, there are two ways you can do that. You can blow him back, blow back the medic, which is a pretty good tactic, especially if their medic has poor communication skills. Because he won't tell the pyro right away that he won't tell his Uber target right away that he's getting blown back, and his Uber target will basically put himself in a situation where, well, that'll happen sometimes. That's kind of my team's fault for not putting a lot of pressure on that area, but it's partially my fault for just wandering around there, not really paying attention. Anyway, you can blow back the Uber target. You can blow back the medic, which will make the Uber target kill himself usually, or you can blow back the target of the Uber, which is sometimes a better strategy because that way you can ensure that he can't get any shots in on the gun or on you or other medics on the team. You can tell I'm still juking and driving a lot, crouching every once in a while. Take note of where the dispensers and guns are on your team, because those are good places to go heal. As medic, you heal naturally over time, so just knowing where the sentry gun is can be a boon sometimes, because you can sort of hide behind it and use that to like let the normal timer heal you over time. This is a particularly dangerous place to stand over there because I have the sniper right out of his front door has a sight line to me. This game's a little bit boring right now because their team's doing pretty bad. A note on healing: if you have 2 medics on your team, you don't want to heal the same person at the same time under most circumstances, because it will slow down the rate at which each of you build your Uber. You build Uber charge faster depending on how, I guess not necessarily how injured, but whether or not the target that you're healing is injured. So if you're healing someone who's at 50 health back to full health, you'll heal them faster, or you'll build charge faster than you would if you're over-healing someone. Like this guy, Riles, he already has 260. My charge is building pretty slow, constantly healing him. Yeah, this is really bad. Their team can't get out of their spawn. You can tell when the teams are unbalanced sometimes. Like, we only played 1 round of Hoodoo so far, and they have 1 guy on their team with 29 points, and everyone else single digits. So that poor guy is probably getting pretty frustrated right now. Yeah, this is so bad. I'm just gonna change teams after this round. This is really bad. It's lagging a bit. We'll see if it scrambles automatically. Okay, it scrambled. It should be a little bit better this time. Okay, I think this will be the last round that I record for right now. See if there's anything I'm leaving out or any big concepts I forgot to mention to you guys. Just want to see if my loadout's working or not. No, it's not. Okay, I guess I'm just using the med gun then.
Mission begins in 30 seconds.
So another word on team composition. When you're looking at the composition of your team, you want to have in any situation you want to have at least 1 demo man or heavy. Usually want a soldier. Should be 1 or 2 medics. Engineer is pretty important on offense. You don't necessarily need an engineer at start. It's usually best if you're playing engineer while you're trying to push out of your spawn to just play medic. So see right there, I Ubered to save myself. This poor pyro is like, this poor sniper is trying to make something happen, but I really used it to save myself because I don't know if that guy got random crits or what, but a crit anything will kill you super fast in medic. You only have 150 life anyway. I'm a little suspicious about this guy. Okay, he's not a spy. It's good as medic to flank the enemy team like that, but you just have to be careful you don't put yourself in a situation where you're compromised. See, that's when in situations like that when the crossbow comes in handy, because I just healed that heavy for 122 from pretty far away, and now when I run up to him to heal him, I only have to heal him for a few seconds to get him to fully overheal. And I can switch to somebody else who might be trying to do. Just like before, constantly be looking behind you. If you have a good pyro on your team, he will stick close to you as medic. Especially on offense, that's really your job as pyro. Spy behind cart. Never mind, he's dead. That's really your job as pyro, is to keep your medics alive, check for spies, hover around the cart. If you're on the cart and people are trying to spam it as pyro, you can blow back the grenades, sticky bombs, rockets, and just try to keep everybody alive. So we should be able to push right here. Oh, that's what you don't want to have happen. You don't want to drop Uber to a sniper like that. I probably should have hit it before I went around that corner, but I was a little overconfident because we were rolling so hard. Anyway, that's all I got for now. I will see if there's anything I missed, and get back to you with some more medic tips. Thanks a lot, guys.